Welcome to Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. I'm glad you're with us. We are joined today by Tim Scott. He is a member of the United States Senate from the great state of South Carolina. How's your new job?
So far, so good. We are off and running. It is a complicated, complex time in America's history, and a good fortune of being in the Senate is a wonderful opportunity to make a difference in this amazing country.
And I want to speak about your grandfather, Artis.
Yes.
93 years old. Who would have thunk that the grandson of Artis would wind up in the United States Senate? You talked about that in a very moving editorial.
There's no doubt that when you think about my grandfather, in his lifetime, he's gone from picking cotton to having a grandson in Congress in one lifetime. And you wonder why, and how does that happen? And one of the things that my grandfather has instilled in me is that only in America can the grandson of a guy without the education that he wished he would have had.
He did not read, or he does not read.
He's
still with us.
Yeah, thank God. We went for a drive just this past weekend. The challenge he faced without an education, without the ability to read, was something that he made a major decision to make sure that both of his grandkids and all of his grandkids would have that opportunity. So every Sunday when we were living with him, every day we'd come home and in the morning I'd see him open a newspaper and he'd have this little cup of coffee and he would sip on his coffee and he'd read the newspaper for all I could tell. And only to find out 3 decades later, he didn't know how to read. And
he has a great-grandchild in graduate school at Duke, in that state north of you. I forget its name, North Carolina. God forbid. Exactly. That being said, I know you're looking to try to revitalize the urban centers, to revitalize those that are stuck in poverty. Talk to us about your mission.
Looking at my grandfather's life and understanding my own failures in high school, it becomes crystal clear that he who succeeds or she who succeeds in America typically starts with the foundation of a great education or a strong education. Without that, the road forward, the road to prosperity is hard to find. And so what we wanted to do is to create a path to prosperity, starting with the notion of education, and that every child deserves a chance, which means parents need more choices in education. Whether it's charter schools, private schools, public schools, whatever it takes, let's give that child an opportunity to succeed.
And what's interesting is I know the federal government has been looking to create those opportunities, No Child Left Behind, Common Core, but it's tough because schools are so very local.
Well,
so how do you bridge that gap?
Well, really, the way you integrate a good plan is to realize that most good education decisions do not happen in Washington. They happen locally. It's school districts that are succeeding. It's communities that are succeeding. It's parents who succeed and the child succeeds. So if we remember that the person closest to the child makes the best decisions for the child, then we start having a serious conversation about transforming the American education system by focusing on the student first.
And in addition to school choice, which is an issue that permeates so many communities, there's this question of Common Core. And so what are we seeing with Common Core in South Carolina? Is there excitement? Is there nerves?
Well, I would say that there's anything other than excitement around Common Core by most folks. The recognition of this is that the next iteration of the ESEA reauthorization, sponsored by Senator Harkin, says that all the decisions, any real pertinent decisions made to education on the state level has to be approved by the Secretary of Education. That is a challenge. It's a major challenge in South Carolina. And when you understand that on page 89 of that big bill, all decisions are relegated to one person or one area of education, that's going to be one heck of a hurdle to overcome.
His name is Tim Scott. He's a member of the United States Senate. He's running for re-election in the great state of South Carolina. My name is Brad Pomerance. I want to thank you so much for watching Charter Local Edition. We're going to send you back to HLN.